In NASCAR, we love our nicknames, don't we? Some are catchy and, well, some are downright scary. But none roll off the tongue quite like a hometown handle. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, Texas Terry, the Rushville Rocket. This weekend, it's about Kansas Clint.
And interesting to note that Kansas Clint Boyer's in about the same position points-wise as Tony Stewart was a year ago. After 5 races in the chase, Stewart, the eventual champion, was 24 points off the lead. Clint Boyer is hanging there 28 points from the top. If he can win some more like he did last week, you just never know. Clint Boyer, our ESPN in-race reporter today.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett. We were just showing the fans your stellar season so far here, and with that victory last week, and kind of leads us to our mailbag question. Parker from Emporia, Kansas asked, with 3 wins this year, did you ever think that transitioning to a new team would go so smooth?
Man, I tell you, it's been a dream come true, really, to be able to change everything that we changed from the ground up. Everything. I mean everything. And have this much success this quick has just been a lot of fun. But, man, we ain't done yet. We got 5 more races to try to win us a championship. We're going after it.
Hey, Clint, I know that you've had a lot of time on the racetrack this week, but a lot of that time was spent just kind of in one groove. But as you watched the Nationwide race yesterday, did it give you a little better feeling that that second groove is going to be something you can use today?
That's definitely something we all had our eye on watching that Nationwide race, seeing how those double file, restarts were going on and how much success they could have on the outside. We got to get some rubber bird into it. We know this track is progressive banking, and over time, eventually, that line will come in. Just a matter of time to see if it'll happen in this race, and if it does, we'll adapt to it, adjust our car to it, and make it happen.
All right, Clint, thanks for talking with us. Have a great day out there. And now Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Brian Patty.
Hey, Brian, it's Andy in the booth. Congratulations last week on a big win, engineered up there on the pit box. Coming here to Kansas, though, this is a real challenging surface. It's a brand new racetrack. How do you make a car go fast and, furthermore, keep it fast all day here?
Well, obviously testing 2 days helped us out a lot. Used a lot of the 55 notes from the tire test when they tested here. So track's so smooth. We've got every ounce of speed out of the car that we think we have. But it just puts you in such a small box for adjustments. So we'll do the best we can. Strategy is going to be important today. Track position is going to be key, just like anywhere else. And we'll just do the best we can.
Well, thanks a lot, Brian. You've done a great job so far for Clint this year. I'm sure you'll do it today.
Thank you, guys.
Clint Boyer starting inside row number 2 today. Our in-race reporter, our over-the-wall camera, is being carried by Alan Troutman today, the front tire carrier for Carl Edwards, another team and driver that love to have a Kansas win. Have a great day, Alan.
Thank you.
Carl Edwards starting in 17th position at the closest track to his hometown of Columbia, Missouri. Most of our ESPN high-definition onboard cameras ride with championship chasers today. Brad Keselowski, the point leader, has got the Dodge on board.
Interesting stat of the week. In the last 3 repaved tracks, there's been a wreck on the first lap.
All right, well, that trend's either going to continue or it's not. It's 50-50 chance.
That's an interesting one there. Casey Kane from pole positions got the Sprint on board camera. Danica Patrick's got the GoDaddy.com on board. And Denny Hamlin, one of the title contenders, with the fresh from Florida Gulf Seafood camera. Here's Clint Boyer, the 5-hour Energy onboard camera. And Greg Biffle, who's enjoyed a great deal of success at this track, has the Ford EcoBoost on board. Mr. 5-time Jimmy Johnson's got the Lowe's on board.
The thing, Earl, is just be aware of the wind as it is blowing today. If it does shift around or as it does increase, let's just try to keep Jimmy abreast of what's going on. I can't feel too much down here.
Another interesting thing to keep an eye on, and Martin Truex Jr., who led so many laps and came so close to winning here in April, has got the Toyota on board today. He'll be one to keep an eye on as we go through this race as well. So as the cars work the parade and pace laps today, we look again at the championship picture, beginning race 6 in the chase, with Brad Keselowski having half the lead over Jimmy Johnson that he did a week ago, just 7 points, and Denny Hamlin 15 back.
Yeah, but I'm going to keep my eye on pole sitter Casey Kane today. I know the 3 analysts down in the pit studio have all said he doesn't have a chance at this championship. I'm not giving up. 5 of his wins have come from the pole, of those 14 that he has, and half of them, 7, were on mile-and-a-half tracks.
Yeah, and I know that they've probably written off Tony Stewart, too, but he's my guy to watch. I know he doesn't have a great average finish here for the last 3 races at 18th, but he repaves. He's finished no worse than third. So I've got my eye on him today.
That's a fascinating twist, too. So Tony Stewart, a lot of work for Tony, starting 33rd on today's grid. And for more stories from pit road before they go up to full speed racing, we check with Vince Welch.
And Alan, when this chase started, Greg Biffle believed he was going to be one of those contending for the championship, but he had 3 straight races to open the chase outside the top 10. Of course, the guys in the pit studio promptly put a fork in him, and Biffle admits that it's a long shot as far as his championship hopes are concerned. But if there's a chance at all, Biffle and crew chief Matt Pusha know they've got to be aggressive on the track and on the pit box, and they promise they will be today. Doc Punch?
Denny Hamlin's week in Kansas began with a destroyed race car after a near 200-mile-an-hour slide into the wall in a trip to the infield care center. But Denny rebounded nicely. He qualified a backup car in 9th position. And today, crew chief Darian Grubb said, you know what? This car Denny's in right now is not quite as fast as the other one, but this one may be more consistent on the long run. So we should be just fine. Here's Dave Burke.
You just saw the graphic. Jimmie Johnson cut the lead in half after last week's strong run in Charlotte. But what about the other 7 points? Well, crew chief Chad Canals told me this morning they've got all the speed they need. They're right where they need to be speed-wise, and we know that they're a player in the fuel mileage game. Kansas Speedway may be all new, but the 48 has been here before. Jamie Little?
Well, last week when point leader Brad Keselowski ran out of fuel mid-race, it was a perfect opportunity to point the finger at his crew chief, Paul Wolfe. But that wasn't the case. Instead, the two talked about it, learned from it, and they moved on. This is exactly what makes them a dynamic duo. They respect each other, and they share in making the race calls together. I expect to see more of that today as they start mid-pack in 25th. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. And before we get started with the Hollywood Casino 400 at Kansas, we remind you to check out NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy to watch coverage live today from Kansas Speedway by following your favorite drivers for free with 8 live camera views. So a couple of drivers have to drop to the back of the pack because they made engine changes during the official race weekend, not the test days Wednesday, Thursday, but from Friday onward. Jeff Burton, one of those who will go to the back. Danica Patrick also made an engine change and will drop to the back on these pace laps for the start. There were 6 engine failures during the April race here. When with fresh pavement and higher speeds, but a different gear ratio, we'll see if that becomes a story today. 267 laps on this 1.5-mile track make up the 400 miles. The championship leader is deep in the pack. His primary rivals for the title are up front for the start. And we are ready to go racing before a huge crowd at Kansas. Clint Boyer in that pink and black car did not get through turns 1 and 2 well at all.
No, he had a big wiggle as he tried to exit turn 2.
Mark Martin's going to lead lap 1. Casey Kane in second in the 5. Eric Almirola in a car they were rebuilding in the garage area this morning slides through to third in the 43. Jimmie Johnson on the move, 48. Racing with Joey Logano there. That's for 6th and 7th. And for 2nd place, again, Almirola.
Right off the bat, that second lane's pretty good. I know Casey Kane lost his spot right there, and it gets a little loose off turn 2. I see a lot of action up there on the start of the race. So Mark took the lead from up there.
Kyle Busch through. Ryan Newman through Casey Kane.
I believe these cars that we see struggling, and drivers with their cars right now, are probably a little bit on the loose side. You have a new surface, the speeds are up there, but it makes it very difficult to handle that loose situation.
Clint Boyer trying to regain some lost ground, working on Jimmie Johnson for the 8th spot.
The situation right here, that inside car, you think is going to have the advantage. We saw Jimmy Johnson give him a little bit more room right there. If they stay tucked up right there side to side, it makes that inside car get extremely loose in the corner.
Atkins at 17. A.J. Allmendinger, 51.
That 51 car with Allmendinger looks pretty strong. He's been pretty strong all week. Been about top 15 car just about the whole time.
How long is it going to take you as a driver to feel out how much of that top lane you can use and to what extent?
Yeah, it's going to take. It's just going to be easing into the throttle. You're not going to drive it off into the corner. And so that means that your speed in the center of the corner is not going to be as great. This is what we're going to see a lot of, too. Although Allmendinger not able to make that pass there, but we will see some cars utilize that with a big draft down the front straightaway.
Almirola closing in on Mark Martin for the race lead up front. And Jamie, there was a big crowd around this 43 car just before it rolled off onto the racetrack.
Well, there sure was. Right after they said gentlemen start, he fired it up and said, I'm not getting any fuel pressure. He said, as soon as I let off the throttle, it quits running. So they had engineers, everybody looking at it. Of course, they couldn't do anything to fix it. So we'll keep an eye on it, Alan.
It's got fuel pressure now, Jamie. He just took the lead.
Yeah, he solved the problem. He just doesn't let off the gas.
That's it. 43 looks stout.
Good perspective from that shot, just how fast they're going. Here on this new pavement of Kansas, we saw some speeds in practice on Saturday of 207 miles an hour into turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be the fastest part of the racetrack. You get through, if you enter turn 3 here, and can get back to the gas so early, these drivers are telling me, way before the center of the corner. Therefore, you're carrying a lot of speed on the exit in the corner. The trioval's the fastest part.
There's
well over 200.
Sorry, Dale, there's your championship leader, Brad Keselowski, started 25th. Settled into line. And he's trying to pick him off one at a time, Dave.
I thought it was interesting in the pre-race, Brad talked about how Paul Wolf and Brad believe in each other. Well, I'll tell you who else he's believing in right now. His spotter, Joey Meyer. Joey has been practically non-stop talking to his driver. Starting back that far, he's got lots of cars to pass, inside, outside, and he's been in his ear the entire first few laps of this race.
Well, it was their radio we heard that stat on the pace laps about the early wreck.
There is a set of one car right in the middle lane. They're side by side. He's not moving backwards or forwards. It's the 48 beside the 17. They've been that way for 3 or 4 laps, just so you know. 5 back for the crowd. He was actually able to complete the pass on the 17 on the middle lane like the nationwide cars. 5 back to the 78.
That's good information he's given him just so he knows if he finds himself in that situation that, hey, that second lane is pretty good. You can use it.
Right now, Keselowski working on Juan Pablo Montoya to try and get 21st position away in these opening laps. Eric Almirola in Richard Petty's 43 started in 5th position. He's running first after just 11 laps of today's 400 miler.